Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, Tom and the Gun Talk crew are taking the day off. So enjoy this reloaded Gun Talk from September, wherein Tom discusses training techniques, ARs, a survival mindset, companies funding gun control groups, the Kavanaugh hearings, and more. And now, the star of the show, here's Tom Gresham.
I guess we have to do this again. Hey, I'm Tom Gresham. Glad that you could be with us. We're going to be having a bunch of fun today. We have so much to cover. It is unbelievable. A lot of things going on. I watched the 4 days of circus, also known as the Judge Kavanaugh hearings before the Senate. Oh, my gosh. I feel so... I knew that you, my friends in California, had a lot to put up with, but after watching Kamala Harris... I feel for you. I just got to say. Okay, we'll get back to that at some point. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. Talk about Dianne Feinstein questioning Judge Kavanaugh and her, I would have to say, willful ignorance when it comes to firearms. Not the case of she doesn't know. I mean, maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't believe. But we'll get to that. The things she said were, you would say they are stupid or dumb, but I'm not going to be quite that kind. And we'll cover a lot of that as we go along. Also, we are just a few days, well, actually 2 days away from the anniversary of the attacks on the United States of America, the 9/11 attacks. I love it when the media says the incidents. Really? The incidents? No, they're attacks. And we'll talk about that. And what did it mean to you? What does it mean to us? And what does it mean for those of us who have decided to provide our own protection for ourselves and for our families? A lot of thoughts on that as we go along. A little bit later in the show, we're going to be talking with a world-class shooter, competition shooter, see what we can learn from him. Also kind of get a catch-up on some of the other stories of the day, things like Levi Strauss teaming up with Michael Bloomberg's gun ban groups. Yeah, Levi Strauss, the Blue Jeans company. Go figure. Of course, we had the whole Nike debacle. And what happened with that. That was fascinating. A lot of things going on. Of course, you can be a part of the process here. It's 866-TALK-GUN is the magic number. Honestly, easier. Just dial Tom, Talk, Gun. That'll get you in. Always looking for range reports, of course, as we go along here. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're giving away stuff. I always like to get this out right out of the box. Let's see. What are we giving away this month? Cool. Ruger stuff. 4 Ruger guns. A Security 9, EC9S, a PC carbine, a Ruger Precision Rimfire. All you have to do is go to guntalk.com/win, and you can enter. This giveaway is going to end on Friday, September the 28th. So you need to get cracking on that. Guntalk.com/win. Also, don't forget, as long as you're on the computer or the phone or wherever you happen to be, go to shopguntalk.com. We have new T-shirts, new hats, all kind of cool stuff. We have trucker and flat bill hats with some of our, you got the GT, you got the cool trigger logo, which I think is one of the coolest sneaky gun kind of logo things out there. We'll also be talking about what's going on out in California. Several gun control bills, gun ban bills actually, have gone to the governor to see if he's going to sign them, and things going on in other states. Again, a lot for us to cover. And also the civilian marksmanship program is going to be selling 1911s. These are surplus military 1911 pistols, and that window is open right now. We'll talk about how you go about that and what it takes for you to get one and what they're going to cost. But right now we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about competition shooting, hunting, wing shooting, and a lot of other things with a good friend of ours right here. If you'd like to be a part of that, 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. We'll be right back.
Now at LibertySafe.com, you can buy a Liberty Safe at a great price and receive 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR, with some safes as low as $20 a month on approved credit. Peace of mind, lifetime warranty, and in-home delivery service. Go to LibertySafe.com now for 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR. LibertySafe.com.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Maximize your firepower and accuracy with Remington's new Model 1911 R1 Limited Double Stack. Up to 19+1 double stack capacity, so you can spend more time shooting and less time loading. Next level accuracy and handling with a 5-inch ramped match-grade barrel and adjustable match-grade trigger for greater precision. Learn more at remington.com/handguns. The new Remington Model 1911 R1 Limited Double Stack. Welcome to a new era at Remington.
Back with you, Tom Gresham. It is Gun Talk. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. If you'd like to be a part of the action here, just give us a holler. We're having a bunch of fun, as we always tend to do. We kind of just a fun deal. We get together and just goof off as much as anything. Visiting right now with my very good friend, longtime friend, Ray Oeltjen, former competitive shooter, an icon of the firearms industry, at Federal Cartridge, at Loophole. You've consulted with a whole bunch of the companies in the business. You've been around guns pretty much all your life, huh?
Yeah, about 50 years, Tom, actually.
So far, so good. You worked in a gun store, didn't you, early on?
Through college, I worked full-time, 45 hours a week through college at a sporting goods gun shop, mostly gun shop.
Were there any lessons that came from working in a gun shop that kind of helped you through your whole career in the firearms industry?
Oh, absolutely. I learned so much about consumer demand, about merchandising. After a while, when you walk into a store, you start saying things that most people don't see.
Oh, yeah?
And you understand how the layout should work and what types of inventory they manage, and it's it was an extraordinary learning experience. And then we traded and sold so many guns that I just learned such a wide variety of guns, not from owning them, but from dealing with them
and passing through your hands
and having to be able to answer questions.
When people ask you questions, it's up to you to figure out the answers, so that you're just always doing research.
Exactly, yeah. And it was just a marvelous start into the shooting industry.
I'm just thinking, if you're a gun person, man or woman, if you really like guns, actually getting a job at a gun store probably would be kind of cool.
Well, I've suggested that to many, many people who had aspirations to be in the gun industry, the shooting industry. So
if you wanted, say, I want to work for a gun company, maybe a background of a few years of working at a gun store would be a good place to start.
Absolutely. And so many young people that I interviewed that wanted so badly to be in the industry said, "Oh, I just love to hunt." Well, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, so do I, but that's not the job. Yeah, exactly. That's great. Well, we had a fun time yesterday. We're out, and for those who don't know, we've got a little place, a little cabin out in Idaho. We're out here playing right now, and we went out riding our four-wheelers and UTVs, and we took what's close to a 40-mile run yesterday. Didn't we?
Yeah, just 37 miles.
37 miles up in the mountains and all that. And pretty much, I would think, we had five vehicles. Pretty much everybody there, at least in every vehicle, I know there were firearms, and there may have been enough firearms there for everybody who was there.
I believe so.
More than likely. So what were you, what was in that long case that you had in yours?
Well, as I told you, it was a 4,570.
Oh, that's a nice caliber.
Some people call it a 4570, but that's...
but they don't know what they're talking about, right? Yeah, of course.
I had my Marlin lever gun, and...
but you had stuff strapped on the stock. What was all that?
That was to raise my head up. I've got a scout scope on it, which is extremely fast. If you have never shot a scout scope, they are so quick.
It's a both eyes open rifle scope, and man, you throw that thing up and it just pops into your vision.
Yeah, and it's a marvelous, dangerous game rifle because it's so fast, and you acquire the target so quickly.
Right.
And so I did put some padding on the stock to raise my head up so it's instant. The very second my cheek touches the stock, I'm looking through the scope.
It's kind of like having a shotgun fitted to you. For those who don't know, Ray has shot a couple of clay targets in his life, like I would say a couple 100,000, but that would be short by about a factor of 10. So it's more like 1 million.
Yeah, well,
a little over 1 million.
Over 1 million. But,
okay. So when you put the pad on the stock, you raise your head up so that when you put the rifle to your stock, you're not having to move your head around to be able to see through the scope.
Exactly. It's very much like shooting a shotgun instinctively.
Okay.
And I, tried it out many times until I got just exactly the right fit. So that the second that stock touches my shoulder and my cheek touches the stock, I'm looking right through the scope. It's instant.
I'm just thinking, a lot of people don't know about that, and they get a rifle scope, they get their deer rifle, whatever, and then when they shoulder it, a lot of times you'll cheek the stock, and then you have to pick your head up to be able to see through the scope, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why so many people have a problem acquiring a target. They see a target out 100 yards, they see it through their binoculars or whatever, and they put the gun to their shoulder, and then they're searching around and say, I can't find it. And
there's too many variables. They've got the head moving around trying to actually see an image through the scope as much as anything.
Exactly.
So there are a lot of ways to go about it. First of all, in most cases, try to mount your scope as low as possible.
Exactly.
And have the action work.
Right.
Okay. And if that's not working, then you can raise your eye with the application of moleskin, if you need a little bit, just over the top of the stock. Or there actually are like strap-on pads and things you can get.
Precisely. And here's another trick that a lot of people aren't aware of that I've taught countless people. If they have trouble acquiring a target in a scope, first of all, you go to low power.
Yeah, clearly.
Definitely.
I always start at low power.
And that should be more obvious than it is. But the other thing is you bring the rifle up almost to your shoulder and have the target directly over the scope. Over the top of the scope.
You're looking over the top of the scope.
And then you just bring the scope to your eye, and there it is. Boom.
So the deal is you don't try to look at the scope. You look at the target and let the scope intercept your vision.
Very well put.
I've been working on that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I've taught people to do that, and they say, oh, wow, there it is.
Yes, look at the target and let the scope intercept your vision. Just bring it up, but keep staring at the target. Don't try to look at the scope.
Exactly.
And that's when it gets hard to find something out there.
Exactly, yes.
But, yeah, to your point, if you have a variable scope, keep it on low power pretty much all the time until you absolutely need the higher power.
Exactly. Yes, always, always, always carry in the field on low power.
Right.
So you can find the target. You can always crank it up if you have to,
right.
But you got to find the target first.
But if you have it on 10 power and that big buck jumps up 10 feet from you and starts running off, just wave to him because that's all you're going to get.
That's it. You can just yell or something.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the show. I appreciate that.
And it also works very well on running targets, which I perhaps do more often than I should, but
well, with your wing shooting background, I think you can.
I kind of enjoy that, and so you track the target with your eyes. You're looking right at it as it's going, and you bring the rifle up almost to your shoulder, and you keep looking at the target, and you bring the rifle to your shoulder. There it is. Boom.
Probably more than one coyote has met its demise that way with you at the trigger.
Perhaps a few, yeah.
Perhaps a few. All right, so we did not shoot your 45-70 Loudon Boomer. Because why you said we didn't have enough earplugs to go around?
There weren't enough earplugs to go around, and it is ported, and it is very loud.
Very loud. But we did shoot my not very loud gun.
Oh, my goodness, what a beauty that is.
Is that fun?
Yeah.
This is an integrally suppressed Ruger 1022, and we're using subsonic ammo in it. And it's only loud if you're the one shooting it, because you're right next to the bolt as it slaps back and forth.
That's the loudest sound it makes, is the action running.
Yeah, if you're standing 10 feet away, you're just not hearing much of it. You're actually hearing the bullet hit out there more so than you're hearing anything at the rifle.
Absolutely. It's just a beautiful little rifle.
And everybody wanted to shoot it. Did you see that?
And Tom wouldn't let me shoot it. But,
well, no, because you're not really that familiar with firearms, so I'm afraid. No, that was so much fun. I think once you start shooting suppressed guns, you kind of think, why would I do anything else?
Oh, it gets addictive,
Yeah. And what a great way to start people out.
Oh, sure, because it takes some of the intimidation of the noise, and of course with that rifle there's no recoil either way, but so many people are more intimidated by the sound than they would like to admit.
Right. No, absolutely. You ever thought about how many people you've taught to shoot?
Oh, gosh, Tom. It has to be in the thousands. I used to put on
you did clinics.
Huge clinics,
right.
And for years and years and years and years, and now it's more individual or families and stuff. And I've taught a lot of children of friends of mine, and I'm at the point in my life where I have more joy out of seeing them shoot than than myself, and of course my grandchildren.
Yes, yeah, that's fun. Okay, so we talked about this an awful lot. It's every time we talk about teaching people to shoot, one of the first subjects that pops up is eye dominance. It's one of the first things you do, isn't it?
Absolutely, the first thing I do, because I primarily teach shotgun, and if you are shooting a shotgun and you shoulder it on your non-dominant eye side, just forget it. It ain't going to work. And everybody's got ideas. Oh, you put a patch over your lens of that of your glasses and all of that. And you can actually train somebody to be somewhat more proficient that way. Why not just switch over to the proper side and say, oh, no, I'm right-handed. Well, you're left eye dominant. And with a shotgun, your eye is the back sight.
It's the rear sight, yes.
That's right.
And to fight it is to fight it for your entire life.
Exactly. It never ends.
So, yes, it is going to feel awkward. One of the things I've said is, look, I understand that it feels awkward to put the gun to your left shoulder if you're right-handed, left eye dominant. So get a BB gun, get a plastic gun, get something, and sit there and have it in your house and shoulder it 100 times a day.
Yeah.
Just bring it up, put it to your shoulder.
Yes.
And it's going to feel awkward. And after a week, it won't feel awkward.
Yes, absolutely. And I recently I was teaching a young lady. She was 16 years old and a daughter of a good friend of mine, and she wanted to get into shotgun shooting. And he had taken her rifle shooting and hunting for years. And she's a pretty good rifle shot, but she's looking through a scope with her non-dominant eye. Okay,
she's right-handed?
She's right-handed.
Left eye dominant?
And left eye dominant. I picked that up in the first 2 seconds.
Right.
And she said, I can't switch. There's no way. And I said, well, then I guess the lesson's over. I said, why don't we just try this?
You called her bluff.
Yeah. And she shot about, I won't elongate this story, but we were out in the field just shooting off of a thrower. And she shot about 20 shots and was getting frustrated. And then her dad put the target on the thrower crooked or something went wrong. I don't know. And it went way off to the side, and she just swung over and just smoked the target.
She stopped aiming, and she just swung on the target.
Exactly. And then she turned out to be an excellent shooter. She went from he asked me to teach her because she couldn't hit anything with a shotgun. He didn't realize what the problem was.
Right.
And turned out to be a wonderful shooter. And she said to me, perhaps a month later after she got into some competitive league shooting, she came to me literally with tears in her eyes and said, thank you so much. I would have never been able to do this.
Right.
And she became very competitive.
Wow. Oh, I know one of the things that you've said, and when you teach, and maybe it's the same young woman, says, and you're going to get a lot of advice when you're at the range.
That was a different one.
It's a different one, but yeah, young girls you taught to shoot. And just for those who know, and when you get there, people are going to be trying to help you out. Oh, you need to shoot it this way. Oh, you're shooting behind it. You're not leading. It's always you're not leading enough.
Yeah.
If you pulled the trigger before the target was thrown, they'd still say you're not leading it enough.
Exactly. Isn't that the truth?
So talk for just a second. We have about a minute about the concept of lead is speed, or speed is lead.
Well, this came about so much in skeet shooting, where the old timers would say, this station is a 2-foot lead, this one's a 3-foot lead, that one's a 4-foot lead. Well, that's BS. Okay. I'm sorry, but it's how fast you're moving the barrel. And there are people like Wayne Mays who you can stand behind and watch him shoot skeet. He's probably the world's greatest ever. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's shooting behind the target.
It's like he's pulling the trigger while he's still behind the target.
Yeah.
But the barrels are moving that fast.
The barrel is moving so fast that he is building the lead in, and he knows how to do it. And so the only time that works is with a sustained lead, which means you have to know exactly where the target is at all times, which you can do that in skeet. But then you get off that field, and you get to a sporting clays field, you can't hit the ground.
Right. And for hunting, forget about it.
Absolutely.
So it's barrel speed. So when somebody says, well, that's about a 2-foot lead, just take that and throw it away, get it out of your mind.
Yep.
You just say, nod, say, thank you very much, I appreciate that. And then flush it out of your brain.
Exactly.
And just think speed, barrel speed, barrel speed. The other thing that happens, if you're thinking barrel speed, it makes it really hard to stop your barrels.
Yes.
Because when you stop your barrels, it's 100% guaranteed you were going to miss every time.
And that is the number one. If I had to pick one thing that people do as a mistake shooting a shotgun on flying targets, is they stop the gun. They get to it. They're rifle shooters, so they want that target to hold still.
Exactly. So if I see some of these competitive shooters, they actually exaggerate their follow-through. Mm-hmm. Is that a way of making sure you keep swinging that barrel through?
Well, part of it is. I don't teach that, but
but you do need to follow through, though.
But yes, absolutely, positively, and if some people are very accomplished at that, and they've got that system down for their particular style. I don't teach a surge at the end.
Right.
Some people do.
Right.
Some people do teach that.
All right. The other thing is, a good wing shooting instructor can make all the difference. Do it, and you'll be amazed at how much.
Oh my goodness! It can change your whole shooting life.
Yeah, exactly. Change your shooting life. Ray Oeltjen, thank you so much. We're going to probably pull you back in a little bit later in the show. Okay. That'll work, my good friend. All right, we are open lines. If you'd like to call us, 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, we're going to talk about gunfighting and are you prepared for what's going on? What's going to be around the corner? Right back with Gun Talk.
Good morning, Mr. Gresham. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to host a radio show that will bring truth and common sense to the discussion of firearms rights in this country. Good luck, Tom, to you and your Tom Gresham's Gun Talk team.
Welcome back to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. You're listening to Gun Talk Reloaded.
And we are back. Tom Gresham here. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. If you'd like to be a part of the action here, by all means, give me a call. If you've just discovered us or maybe you've found me on Twitter. By the way, I am at Gun Talk on Twitter. And we are regularly getting anti-gunners in there. It's very interesting to me how we have 40,000 plus people there who are all well-behaved and well-spoken and polite and respectful. And then when we get the gun banners, the anti-gunners come in, they're mean and nasty and rude and ugly and dropping F-bombs, and we just never see that from the gun owners. It makes me wonder, well, it makes me wonder a lot of things. Well, beyond our time available to talk about that right now, I mentioned that we are 2 days away from the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks on the United States of America. It was a turning point in a lot of ways, and for a lot of individuals who looked at that and said, sweetie, we may have to think about getting a gun. And for a lot of people, it was a changing point. It really was. One of the people who has seen that in his work is Ken Campbell. He is the Director of Operations, the head poobah out at the Gunsite Academy in Arizona. Ken joins us right now. Hey, Ken, how you doing?
Tom, it's always good to be on the air with you. I hope I'm treating you well.
Well, excellent. Appreciate it, and appreciate everything you guys do out there. It's interesting. I mean, and I know with your extensive law enforcement background, you may kind of sometimes wonder why Why would it take an event like 9/11 to have people realize that they need to take care of themselves? But sometimes it does, and sometimes people just kind of need that wake-up call, don't they?
It does. It takes that awakening. You know, Jeff Cooper talked about that for many years on being prepared, whether it's his famous mental preparedness lecture or going on into you need to be prepared for events that throw at you in life, or even going back to my old days as a Boy Scout, you know, be prepared. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, sometimes it takes a significant life event to get people to realize the world may not be as pleasant a place as I once thought it was. There's a couple from Phoenix that come to mind that are many time over Gunsite students. Mm-hmm. And they became gun people, if you will, after a good friend of theirs during a robbery was murdered. And this husband and wife were multiple Gunsite graduates. They're regular competitors at Glock matches. Both their sons are regular clients of ours, students of ours, and they also shoot competitively. But it took that significant event by having a good friend murdered to really get them to wake up. And that's been, 25, 30 years ago.
And I know that happens on a regular basis where you get people that come to Gunsite, which, for those who don't know, Gunsite is a training academy. It's a shooting school. It's a gunfighting school in Paulden, Arizona, north of Prescott a little bit. You can learn to shoot pistols, rifles, shotguns, and it teaches you an awful lot. It's not exactly marksmanship, although that's a part of it. It's an awful lot of pieces and parts. But all I'm going to say is I know that you get people who come there where they have been assaulted, or somebody they know has been assaulted, or somebody has been murdered. Do you see in those students a difference, maybe more of a sense of purpose, perhaps, than with the average student?
Without fail. They've come to us to learn how to fight, to change how they look at things, because their world has changed. So they come here with that dedicated mindset, and they leave with a big smile on their face, usually, I might add. But they leave with that empowerment, that sense of well-being, that if something happens to me, my awareness in those 7 principles of personal defense, my awareness should make me alert to that, and I may be able to simply walk across the street and avoid it, or if the flag does fly, I can face it and deal with it.
Interesting you say that, because people who don't know, people who've not been to Gunsite, or one of the good training schools out there, and there are a number of them, they think, well, you're going there because you really want to shoot somebody. You want to learn how to shoot somebody. And then people who come out of the first 5-day class, it's been my experience that they will work harder than ever in their lives to avoid that situation, because now they have a very real-world appreciation for what it's all about.
Without fail. That Wednesday morning lecture on mindset is probably the most important lecture you get at Gunsite, because it teaches you that color code and those 7 principles of personal defense and makes you alert and aware. So, again, instead of walking down the street like so many people are with their head in their iPhone, I wasn't going to say anything other than that, with their head in their iPhone, completely unaware of what's going on around them, and that criminal is out there sitting there thinking that's going to be an easy target. When they come out of Gunsite, their head is up, they're alert, they're looking around, and that criminal, if nothing else, thinks, I'll wait, there'll be an easy one. Or if our people see this bad guy or recognize something that is that sixth sense, that women's intuition, that hair standing up on the back of your neck, they recognize that and think, I need to go across the street, or I'll wait and go out in the parking lot later. And that saves a confrontation, and that is crucial.
Well, you get at least 2 big benefits out of paying attention. One, you could spot what's going on in time to avoid it or to escape from the situation. The other is, if you can't avoid it, having a heads up and having a head start on going ahead and getting yourself into a fighting position, whatever that entails, whether it's, gun, shelter, whatever it is, an extra 1, 2, 3 seconds can make all the difference, as we've seen time and time again in videos now, body cam videos from law enforcement officers. And I think that's, Ken, I'd like to get you to talk about this. I got to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about what people don't understand about gunfighting and attacks? And maybe first up would be how fast things happen. We're talking with Ken Campbell from Gunsite Academy out in Arizona, GUNSITE.com. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
The pistol that redefined pocket carry just got even better. The Ruger LCP2 has improved sights, an easy-to-rack slide, a larger textured grip surface for a secure grip and recoil reduction, and a short, crisp, single-action trigger pull for real-world accuracy. It's so small and light that there's no reason to ever leave home without your LCP2. A serious pistol in a pint-sized package. Learn more about the LCP2 at Ruger.com.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Tired of searching the web for the best deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gun Dealio app today for deals and discounts right at your fingertips. Handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, optics, lasers, gun safes, targets, gun cleaners, grips, slings, and much, much more. Save money on products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gun Dealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
We're talking with Ken Campbell from Gunsite Academy. Ken, I understand you're actually at a gun show.
I am. I'm sorry about the background noise, but I know you find it hard to believe that I'm at a gun show on my day off, but I'm down in Phoenix and just walking about some of the most polite people in the world, of course, because they're American shooters and we're at a gun show.
So is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
A bargain. Aren't we all?
Exactly. And people say, well, I don't really know what I'm looking for, but I'm going to go look at things, and then something may just speak to me.
It is, and as well as it's a social event, too. You know, you run into people that you know here, and that's always enjoyable.
Excellent. All right, I mentioned before we went to the break the idea that one of the things that I think people don't fully appreciate, and it may be one of the big differences between law enforcement folks and people who are not law enforcement, is how quickly a situation can go from everything's fine to holy, it happens so quickly, doesn't it?
It does, and I can speak to that in my dark-haired days and my 35 years in law enforcement, or in the training aspect of it here, or simply look to what's been known as the Tooler drill for many years. If you don't see what's happening to you, if you aren't aware that something might be happening, you're behind the power curve, and trying to catch up and get ahead of that bad guy, get inside his OODA loop, your chances of being successful in that violent event is very, very low. Colonel Cooper has been speaking about that for years in his color code, white, yellow, orange, and red, so that if you're in condition white, that's me and my lazy boy at home with a glass of sweet tea on the table, and I've got a golden doodle sitting there next to me rubbing their head. That's condition white. But the minute I cross my threshold, I go into condition yellow, so I'm alert and aware of what's going on around me, because when, not if, when it happens to me, it's going to be very quick, and I've got to be ahead of that power curve so I can get caught up and get past the actions of that bad guy. Our reaction is always slower than an action.
It's interesting you said when and not if it happens, and I remember, and I don't remember if I heard it at Gunsite or some other place, but I always liked it. They said, look, when you put your gun on in the morning, before you leave the house, you don't say, today may be the day. You start off and you say, today is the day I am going to need that. And that actually cuts down your reaction time because you have started the reaction before you've left the house.
Absolutely. It is. The round that is in the chamber right now is the one that will save my life. And I've got to go at it with that aspect. And it's not an exhausting thing. It's not like we're walking down the aisles of whatever our favorite retailer is with, crouched, ready to go. But I'm alert. I'm aware. I got my head up. It's on a swivel. I want to see what's going on around me. I want to pay particular attention to what's behind me because miscreants strike from the rear. Mm-hmm. But I'm like that fighter pilot or that bomber pilot. I've got my radar going. I want to know what's around me all over the place. And again, I got to go back to that sixth sense, that women's intuition. If something doesn't feel right, in my prior career, we called that a clue. And you got to trust that. And when something doesn't feel right, pay even more attention to see what that is until you've got a reason to stand down or you've got a reason to relax or the feeling's gone away because you've moved out of that environment. You got to trust that feeling. I put it another way. I tell people, I said, hope will get you killed. They said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're walking down the street and you say, I sure hope those guys aren't as bad. I hope, they're coming over here. I sure hope they don't mean to hurt me. Oh, I'm going to cross the street. They cross the street. God, I sure hope that, at a certain point, and I would say early on, you have to just say, okay, that, as you say, that doesn't feel right, and I'm going to start taking action immediately. And a lot of times the action you take is simply to remove yourself from the situation, and it never becomes an attack or a life-threatening situation at all, but it's because you had the radar running. Absolutely. And when this miscreant sees that you've seen them and you're giving them some attention, again, I've got to think they're going to think, there's another one. I'll wait. Yeah, they'll wait for the easier prey as it comes along. Ken, for the 5-day 250 class at Gunsite, I know you guys are running a whole bunch of them now. It's one that can take you, and I want to tell people, you don't have to be a gunfighter to go there. You could actually have never fired a gun and start with that class, can't you? Absolutely. You can come with a brand new gun in a box or rent one from us. And I'm not saying that to make some rental income. I'm saying that is if you don't know what kind of gun's best for you, if you come rent one from us, by the end of the week, you'll be an informed consumer, and that way you can go on Gun Dealio and you can find the gun you're looking for and get that best price as an informed consumer. So you come here with a gun in a box, and we'll make you run faster and jump higher, and you will come away stronger, a better shooter, certainly safe, and be empowered and in a comfort zone. And we're seeing more and more folks that come like that never would have been gun people because they're recognizing the world's a little more dangerous place. Yeah, and probably you're getting close to an even split of women these days, I would guess. Oh, women are a large percentage of what we do. We do some ladies only classes here, but it's only because some women don't want to learn with men. And honestly, men, you may want to plug your ears here. The women are better students than we are because we've got all that machismo to get past. They don't. Yes, exactly. Very often they start off behind, and by the third day they've passed up to men for only one reason: they're listening. Ken, I got to run here. I appreciate everything you guys do. Gunsite Academy, I mean, it's the happiest place on earth for me. Gunsite, GUNSITE.com. Tell everybody hello for me, would you? Will do. You take care and come out and see us. We'll do it. Ken Campbell, thank you so much. Yes, it is amazing. Somebody who actually listens and pays attention can actually end up out shooting the people who say, oh, yeah, I've been shooting all my life. Yeah, okay, great. That's wonderful. But you're not listening to the instructor. Why'd you pay all that money if you're not going to listen to it? 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. We're looking for your range reports.
watch any of the hearings, the Judge Kavanaugh hearings? He's obviously the nominee for the Supreme Court. There are some highlights and some lowlights and some that just left you scratching your head. The highlight for me was Ben Sasse, senator from the state of Nebraska. He gave a 15-minute talk that should be required viewing. You can go on YouTube, watch it. It'll pop right up. SASSE, Ben Sasse. It's basically the Schoolhouse Rock version of American Civics, and it is phenomenal. On the flip side, Kamala Harris from California was just an arrogant bully and threatening, insinuating, snide, tricky, condescending, rude. Oh, did I say rude again? Good. And then we have Senator Feinstein. Holy moly. And she's talking to the judge about his ruling in a case in D.C. where he quoted the Heller decision, used that as a precedent. And she said, well, you said that assault weapons, she keeps using the term assault weapons, semi-automatic rifles cannot be regulated because they're in common use. What do you mean by that? He said, well, the Heller decision, Justice Scalia wrote that guns in common use cannot be banned, et cetera, et cetera. She said, well, what'd you base that on? Did you do any research? And he said, well, there are millions, as he said, quote, millions and millions and millions of semi-automatic rifles owned by America. She said, well, that's owned, but assault weapons are not in common use. People don't actually use them for anything other than school shootings. And at this point, I know your head's starting to explode because you're thinking, what do you think 10 million AR-15s, just to start off one category, subcategory of semi-automatic rifles, what do you think they're used for? Why do people own them? Well, they shoot them. They go to the range. They teach marksmanship. They do competition with them. They hunt. People say, oh, nobody hunts with those. Yes. Hundreds of thousands, if not perhaps even, who knows, maybe millions of people use AR-15s for hunting. Why? Because it's a really good rifle design. It's just a rifle. It works the same. Let's get this straight. It works the same way as President Teddy Roosevelt's semi-automatic rifle did. You pull the trigger once, it goes bang once. But to Dianne Feinstein, she says, those are not in common use. Of course, what she's saying, and she said, my office authored the assault weapons ban in 1993. And of course, it was in effect for 10 years. And, I think it worked very well. I'm thinking, it worked very well? Crime did not go down? What are you talking about? Well, it worked very well because it was a faux gun ban. And she likes any kind of gun ban. I mean, and she went on 60 Minutes, for those who don't remember, and she said, I didn't have the votes, but if I could have gotten the votes, I would have confiscated them all. Not just banned the sale of them, not just regulate them. Her quote was, pick them all up, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. So she is a gun confiscator, a gun banner, and then she's sitting there trying to berate Judge Kavanaugh when he says, well, these guns are in common use. And she's going, they're not in common use. There may be a lot of them that are owned, but people don't actually use them. And you just go, really? So here's my question to you. Do you have, and you know what? Let's start the ball rolling. We can do it right now. Do you have an AR-15? Do you have a semi-automatic rifle of any type? And what do you use it for? Let's just start putting some of those on the record right now. This would be a really good time. Call me at 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun and just tell me, what kind of semi-automatic rifle do you have? We'll leave out shotguns for the time being because she doesn't know the difference anyway. Semi-automatic rifle could be a Ruger 1022, could be an AR-15, and what do you use it for? She says semi-automatic rifles are not in common use. Yeah, except that I shot my first deer with one when I was 11, 55 years ago. Oh, yeah, that. 866-TALK-GUN, competition shooting, and your calls when we come back.